We're going to welcome Miami back in here because I wanted to simply point out to them to make them feel a little bit bad about their football viewing experience. I don't think that they know necessarily what I'm about to tell them, which is that football is so much better when you are watching it on the West Coast.
Oh, the best. Yes.
It is unbelievable to have your evenings to yourself and not feel like total sloth because the football is starting at 10 a.m. I had happened to me something. I've been telling you that over the last couple of weeks, I have simply forgotten about the London game. This time I missed it entirely. By the time I paid attention to football, Tannehill had already thrown for his 77 yards in the game, and I had no reason to pay any attention to it. It is an entirely different experience to what happened, Mike. You being bothered by the plant there?
These are real plants, and I think I just poked my eye and scratched my cornea.
Am I wrong about this, though? I mean, like the viewing experience on Sundays is so much better here to be able to watch football at a time that starts early in the morning.
Dan, it's not Sundays. It's sports. All the sports. The late NBA game done by 10 o'clock. I get to sleep at a reasonable time. I wake up tomorrow. I do whatever I want. Like you said, on Sundays, you could actually have a Sunday evening soiree somewhere if you want to after all the football's done. This concept that all the sports media is located on the East Coast and people have to stay up until 1 in the morning and then write their gamers and stuff, and that doesn't get done until 2 a.m. and then tomorrow morning you got to do a morning show. It's ridiculous. Everything should be on the West Coast. Everything.
This is why you guys were being unnecessarily mean to Lucy yesterday because she left. She's been living. You made her move to Miami out of this blessed West Coast time zone. Then she's been living in Miami and the East Coast. She's used to getting up early for shows here. She had to leave, go back to the West Coast for the Colorado game. She's on a time difference. None of us stayed awake to watch the end of the Colorado-Stanford game in the Eastern time zone. I went to bed at 10 o'clock. I was snug as a bug in a rug by the end of the first quarter.
Watched every second.
I watched the replay the morning after, and guess what? I don't remember any of that because I was fast asleep. So I don't think anyone who went to bed and had a nice little night's sleep should be mean to Lucy.
I saw every single one of the 300 yards Travis Hunter surrendered.
And why didn't you make content out of it, Mike?
Ooh.
Where were you? Where were you to help
behind a
teammate?
paywall? $2.99 for less than a cup of coffee.
That a boy.
And Michael Ryan Ruiz, super follow.
Fast asleep's an interesting phrase.
It is.
That's it.
That's all you had?
Snug as a bug in a rug is also pretty useless, and it's just rhyming for no reason. But, Jessica, you are the one who complains the most about late games. You'd prefer the schedule we're living on out here because you wouldn't miss much because of how late things end on the East Coast and how early they end out here.
I have been arguing for decades, as long as I've been alive, that the games just start too late. Please stop starting primetime games at 8:15, 8:30, 9 o'clock on the Eastern time zone. Nobody wants that. People on the West Coast, they say that they love their games being early. I think they're okay if we move it up like an hour and a half. That's all I'm saying.
Dan, I agree with what you're saying, and I've said this for a while. The West Coast is a better viewing experience. You get your games at 10. You
said it first.
You get your games at 1. You get your Sunday night game at 4:30 in the afternoon. But here's the thing. I need Hawaii to be on at midnight. I cannot bet the game unless it's on at midnight on Saturday night. I can't do it. Yeah. Therefore, I stay in the East Coast. That's it.
Hey, if we shift all the other sports times, fine. But
right.
The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors need to stay on for the midnight chase.
Yes. Speaking of Hawaii, have you ever watched sports in Hawaii?
I have.
Oh, my God. You know what? I take it back. We're doing it wrong on the West Coast. Hawaii is where it's at because it's like you're done by 4 in the afternoon or something.
But what I don't like is that Hawaii's on at 4 in the afternoon. No. Again, we need that at midnight.
Mike Ryan went to the Monday Night Football game between the Chargers and Dallas and had the same experience I'm talking about where he gets his evening back after leaving the stadium.
Yeah, a few nights ago, it's in Inglewood. Traffic is bad, notoriously, in Los Angeles. You have to walk basically 2 miles away from the stadium to track down an Uber. And it was this whole ordeal. And I'm already dreading. I got to wake up so early to make this call time. I'm so tired from leaving this game. By the time I got back to my hotel, it was 9:50 at night. I haven't a full night's rest. I woke up to cartoon birds singing. It was incredible. It's so different than the East Coast. If you want to watch a primetime game on the East Coast, you know that you're not going to be right for a full week.
How is it possible, Chris Cody? I want to bring you in on this.
Time zones, am I right?
You have said before that you find the Chargers to be as frustrating as any team in the sport. How is it possible that Herbert has inherited from Phillip Rivers, I'm always going to be down late and I'm not going to do anything when I'm down late? How is this moved from San Diego to Los Angeles with the Chargers, and now all of a sudden we are talking about Tua is at the helm of the most explosive offense in the history of the sport through 6 games, and everyone's looking at Herbert and laughing because he can't win close games, and the Chargers, who could be 5-1, are 2-3, and they're going to get their coach fired because at the end of games they can't come back.
Earlier this week, we ended, by the way, the Tua-Herbert debate. That thing is over. We're
Forever.
done with that thing.
Yeah.
It's Brandon Staley's fault. Have you seen him? Him with a beard, the gray beard. We have a shot that we can show the video audience here. Him at his introductory press conference and him on Monday night with that gray beard, the sport is killing him. It's killing him. He's going to – look at this guy. I mean, it's just terrible. Well, they don't have it ready right now, but you can imagine what it is.
I like the idea.
Look at how delighted Billy is. Billy is so
He loves
delighted
chaos,
when,
Dan.
when-
I mean-
no, he loves chaos, but he also loves when people
There
around
it
him
is.
fail in the executive producer position.
Look at this. This is, what, 3 years ago? Wait,
Yeah.
does he look good? Actually, he looks good there. What am I talking
Okay.
about? He looks fantastic.
It's an upgrade.
He
Yeah.
looks like
He looks like Ben Affleck going to do a Dunkin' Donuts run. That's what Brandon Staley looks like now.
I just love the idea that Dan has Phillip Rivers like a force ghost watching over Justin Herbert, right? And saying like, yes, my son. The force is strong with you.
I can't believe that the Chargers aren't better. There can't be a more frustrating and confusing team in the league because I think I've got this right. They can beat anyone in the sport and they can lose to anyone in the sport. More so, I know there were a lot of weird results last week, and I know that everyone had trouble scoring. A ridiculous number of teams scored under 21 points last weekend. But there can't be a more exasperating team in that league than the Chargers.
Staley's a bad coach. The inconsistencies, I think we all trust the quarterback. I think we know that Keenan Allen is a finished product. They have this great pass rush of Bosa and Mack, and yet every week we're confused about who they are. It's the coach. It's always been the coach. He's not a good coach.
Do we trust the quarterback?
I trust Herbert. I trust Herbert.
I mean, I feel like he's like living off of some credit that he earned a long time ago.
He's backsliding under Kellen Moore. There's no doubt. The offense isn't what it once was. They have had injuries, and I think that's fair to note. And also, I do kind of agree that you can call the race now with a little bit more data, but one concussion from Tua, and the discussion is back on. We know what's going on here, and we all enjoy this because this right now feels like the longest sustained run of fitness and health from Tua. So it's really funny how quickly people forget that that's still a very large question mark.
Leave it to Mike. Bring a wet blanket. Just throw it all over the Miami
Well, but
guys.
when he says how quickly people forget, it is funny in that sport because of where the stakes are with everything. The sheer amount of credit or blame we give to the quarterback when they win or lose. I am 2 days removed from Stugotz making the argument, which sent me home reeling on Monday.
Sorry.
That Zach Wilson should play even if Aaron Rodgers is healthy.
Yeah.
When the playoffs start, when Zach Wilson was incompetent 2 weeks ago. And the reason they're winning is not him. It's simply that they haven't lost recently because of him. But 2 weeks is enough for Stugotz to go from not wanting to have anything to do with that team to saying, I'm not sure I want Aaron Rodgers back just because winning cures all, and you give all of the credit to the quarterback when they win.
I
could
stood
not-
strong, Dan. I stood strong. You're wrong. I told you, okay? I told you. The only people who can't root for the Jets, Mikey A., okay, Mike Greenberg, my wife, Joe Lameth, and somebody else. I forget who it is. I mean, those are the only – they can't root for the Jets. I stood by Zach Wilson when no one else did. Chris Sims is the other one. I stood by Zach Wilson when no one else did. And if he gets me to the playoffs, I want to ride the guy that got me there. That's it. You bring Aaron in, fourth quarter emergency. That's it.
So is Damian Woody off the hook now? Because-
Woody, that's the fifth name. Thank you, Amin. I appreciate it.
Oh.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke. Don't fix it.
Bingo.
Charlotte, that's what you were trying to get in. That
She's
is
right,
what you
though,
tried
Dan.
to get in
No,
with 3
I
times.
was just going to say that I really supported Stu in this argument, but then
Thank
he
you.
supported himself.
Charlotte, how was this plant better during this segment than you were with that cliche right there?
That is not right. I mean, Charlotte,
Well,
I
the
think you
plant
were
made
better than
some
the
jokes.
plant. I do.
Thank you, Stu. The plant made some jokes you guys couldn't hear because the plant doesn't have a mic.
Is there a penalty box they can build for us out here? Can they?
No, Charlotte, sit down.
Charlotte, come back.
She kept running.